Shabbat Shalom. So good to be together, to reconnect on this Shabbat, to sing songs of praise and peace. We raise our voices together on page 40 in your prayer books and sing together Shalom Aleichem. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Sing that with us. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sing that with us. Shalom Aleichem Malchei Hasharet Malchei Elyon. Mihi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lochem LeShalom Malchei HaShalom Malchei Elyon. Mihi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon. Mihi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni LeShalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon. Mihi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchen LeShalom Malchei HaShalom Malchei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la. Shalom Aleichem Malchei Hashar Malchei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem Malchei Hasharet Malchei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone. We are excited to be back here together, a community celebrating another wonderful Shabbat. And to do so, we begin by turning to page 13 in our prayer books, as we welcome Betty Landau to come forward to honor us by lighting our Shabbos candles and sharing the blessings over the candles.
Light is the foundation of life, yet impossible to touch. Light is flowers growing and fruit trees blossoming. Photosynthesis and rainbows shimmering. Light is energy and romance, enlightenment and lightning. Light is red and violet and magenta and blue. Lasers and campfires, warmth and illumination. The sunset and the dawn. Gata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotah, v'tzivanu l'halak ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, eternal source of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch
וציוונו להדליק נר של Shabbat. Amen.
On page 27, we continue responsively. Let the earth ring out with song. Burst forth, sing aloud, sing with harp and with song. Sound the shofar before God. Let the sea roar and all that fills it. Let the rivers clap their hands together before God who comes to judge the earth. We welcome the Sabbath bride now on page 34 with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, נקבלה, lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, נקבלה, שמור וזכור בדיבורך, נשמיע אליך מיוחד אדונייך ושמועך לשם תפארת ולתהילה. lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, נקבלה, lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, נקבלה,
לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, בסוף המעשה במחשבה תחילה.
lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, נקבלה, lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובסולה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, נקבלה, 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 lecha dodi, lecha dodi.
Continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 42. Yikadar, Yikadash Shemei Rabbah, Amen. ועלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבא מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. Page 44. Lai la 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 Lai la 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 Lai la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 ya la 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 Ya la 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Vaed HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. Continue on page 49. We are loved by an unending love. We are guided by the still, small voice within us. We are loved by an unending love. A ner tamid to be tended from generation to generation. And a gentle love. Giving meaning to our existence, structure to our lives. And of all the generations who have embraced their covenant. Continue now at the bottom of page 54. I invite you to join with me in this short prayer. See the world as a gift from God directly to us. Act as a gift from God directly to the world. Breathe as if we are all breath. Pray as if we are all the source. So we seek the source now as we continue with listen.
'56. If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Then listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul, and with all your might. Write them and learn them and teach them well, every morning and night. Close your eyes and listen.
Quiet yourself, there's nothing to say. Stop all the chatter that gets in the way and listen. Listen to our God. When the wind and the thunder finally disappear, there's still a voice that you will hear if you listen. Listen to our God. You can hear it from the top of the highest hill or from the valley below. It can come from the edge of the universe It can come from within your soul. Close your eyes and listen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Listen to our God. Listen to our God.
Continue together on page 57. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לפניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
This is the time of the service where we always speak about freedom, Michamocha on page 62. And this week I'm thinking about personal freedom, the freedom to be who you really are. And we don't realize how affected we are by the society around us. I mean, look at me. You know, for years I wore black shoes. And then suddenly all the kids started wearing brown shoes with blue suits, and I had to have brown shoes. And then my brown shoes wore out, and I had to go get new ones, and all the kids were wearing white soles on their brown shoes. And so, of course, I had to get, and next year, a movie's going to come out, and suddenly, everyone's going to wear double-breasted suits. I'm going to have to throw out all my suits and buy entirely new suits again. And we don't recognize how much we are in the control of the society around us. And I do dream of a promised land where we could all just be exactly who we are. Unfortunately for me, that promised land is called retirement, and it's probably a long way off. But we all can do something to make sure that we really do live up to our own style, our own sense of self, our own values, our own ideals, as we sing together the song of personal freedom on page 62.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהי לא רוסף אלה, נורא תהי לא רוסף אלה. מלכותך רע ובניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זה לי ענו ואמרו, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם. Adonai lo leolam vaed. Yai lai lai la lai la 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 lai. Yai lai 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 ya la 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 lai. Ya lai la lai lai ya lai la la lai. Yai la lai lai ya la 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 lai. Yai lai lai la lai la 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 lai. Yai lai 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 ya la 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 lai. Ya lai la lai lai yai lai la la lai. Yai la lai lai ya la lai lai lai. ונאמר כי פדרנה את יעקב וגר לו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We turn to page 65 for our song of Shabbat. This morning I called Rabbi Loss to consult with him on a problem that we were having at temple, and I was exercised about and going on, and he said, you know, I just spoke with a friend who was dying, and he said, it's not important enough, let it go. And that's really what Shabbat is all about. It's about taking time to recognize that we should really be focusing on what's truly important in our lives and letting everything else go. And so in the spirit of that gentleman, who unfortunately is no longer with us, I believe, right, or at least will soon not be with us, we turn now to page 65 and sing our song of letting go.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. You can snap your fingers or something. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Sing with me.
ביני
ביני
ובין
ובין
בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Last time with us we're singing ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We rise together on page 68. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי אגיד תפילתך. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah ve'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, עליון גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר הסתי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך חוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
We join together on the bottom of page 69. Prayer invites us to let God's presence suffuse our spirits, to let God's will prevail in our lives. Prayer cannot bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Blessed are you, O God, who renews all things.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. As you're seated, we pray silently. Hey-oh, 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 hey-oh. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. סלם עלינו ועל כל העולם, סלם, שלום, סלם עלינו ועל כל העולם, סלם, שלום.
Try something different today. I want everyone in the room to close your eyes. I want you to really close your eyes. I can see you. Close your eyes. I want you to think about the people in your life who need healing. People who are ill, people you love, people who need a little bit of emotional support maybe, but really hold space for them inside of you. I want you really to think about them. It can be one person, it can be 5, it can be 6. And if you don't have anybody you're thinking of, then you're really lucky. And if you're lucky enough not to be holding someone inside right now, I want that space to be reserved for everyone else in the room who has someone in their life who has a serious illness or knows someone who needs emotional healing. Because loving somebody who's ill is also really hard. It's really, really hard. So we're holding space together for everyone you're thinking of tonight, for your friends, for your family members, for yourselves who are in need of healing. And we're also holding space for the people who love them, for you, with hope that with Misha Berach comes healing, comes peace, hope, and wholeness. Page 72.
מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeirach imotenu, mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with rufuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
London, Marseille, New Orleans, although we'll leave that for another sermon. It feels as though I've been around the world a few times in the last 2 weeks. I don't even know what time zone I'm in. Our family was so fortunate to go to Europe for Thanksgiving to visit our daughter Erica, who's living in London, and then on to Marseille to visit Sheldon's French family, his aunt and his cousins. We jammed as much as possible into 5 days in London, from the Tower of London to the Churchill War Rooms, from window shopping at Harrods to Harry Potter's Platform 9 3/4 at King's Cross Station, and literally everything in between. We saw it all, and it was awesome. And as an aside, the Marseille leg of our trip was amazing too, but totally different. 5 days of relaxation and rejuvenation, ice cream every day, Nutella crepes in the Old Port, family time, sitting in Tata Susie's garden as they brought us course after course after course of the most delicious French Moroccan food until we were stuffed to the gills. The boys flew kites along the Mediterranean Sea, and we hiked to the top of the cliffs of Cassis. It was fabulous. What I can't stop thinking about, though, was the food tour that Sheldon and I took in London's East End. Now, I have to preface this saying that our guide did not know that we were Jewish, and she certainly did not know that I am a rabbi. But, as it turned out, almost every item that we tasted had a Jewish history. Emes, truth. Mincemeat pies, which, by the way, don't have any meat in them, which was news to me. In the Spitalfields Market, which is known for being a melting pot and fusion of East and West. It was the place of immigration and settlement, from the Huguenots fleeing persecution to the Jews escaping pogroms. According to our guides and the Spitalfields website, this area was overwhelmingly Jewish from the 1880s through the 1970s, with at one point over 40 synagogues in the area. It remains a place of immigration with a strong Bangladeshi population. And around the corner from our bakery, we visited a building that at one time was a church, then a synagogue, and now a mosque. And as we learned, there are many buildings throughout the world that have held two religious sites, but never all three. Imagine, we learned all of that with just one bite of mincemeat pie. And across the street from the mosque, we stepped into a tiny little shop to sample Indian samosas. Okay, there was nothing Jewish about them, but they were delicious. And nearby, we had a taste of heaven, an artisan chocolate shop called Dark Sugar. Has anyone been there? It tells the story of its owner and founder, Nayana, and her chocolate journey from Ghana to the East End, with a stop along the way with the chocolate man who taught her her trade. On the wall of this store is a mural of the people who accompanied her on her journey, the women who picked the beans on her family's cocoa farm in West Africa, the men who have supported her along her journey, and in the bottom corner of the mural is an Israeli man with a black hat and a long white beard. He's the chocolate man. If you're in London, it's an absolute must, and you have to order the hot chocolate, and you will never go back to Swiss Miss again. Now, I won't tempt you with all of the other tastes and stops that we made along the way, but suffice it to say, there were corned beef sandwiches on bagels, which are spelled B-E-I-G-E-L-S, where we also learned that what we think of as traditional corned beef and cabbage actually has roots, Jewish roots on the Lower East Side of New York. We tasted cronuts, which is a fad from a few years ago that combined croissant and donuts. It's not bad, but it's not my favorite. And of course, the old standard, fish and chips. Believe it or not, British fish and chips are Jewish. Yes, they are. Despite the fact that England is an island, fresh fish was hard to come by, as it would spoil before it would reach the city. And so it was customary to dehydrate the fish for export. And I can only imagine how that must have tasted. Probably not great. So in 1860, a Jewish merchant named Joseph Malin took a cue from the traditional Spanish and Portuguese Sabbath fish, pescado frito, a breaded and fried fish that would last throughout the Sabbath from Friday evening through Saturday, as they weren't able to cook over a fire. And so Joseph opens the first fish and chips place in London in 1860. By 1910, there are more than 25,000 fish and chip shops across the United Kingdom, and by the 1930s, there were over 35,000. We shouldn't be so surprised that each of these so-called ethnic foods that we believe are unique to certain peoples and places have Jewish influences and stories associated with them. But I have to admit that I was. I am very much aware of how the foods and cultures of the places where Jews have lived have influenced our foods. Think of Eastern Europe and latkes, for example. But I haven't really given a lot of consideration to how our stories and our traditions influence the cultures around us, wherever we have lived, and it is considerable. The Jewish people have found themselves in nearly every place throughout the world. It started when God commanded Abraham, Lech Lecha, go forth, and continues in this week's Torah portion, Vayetze, as Jacob runs for his life away from his brother Esau, from whom he has stolen his birthright. Vayetze means, and he went out. It is the story of our people's wanderings from Abraham until now. Despite hardship and challenge and tragedy in our history, great things and great stories have come from it. In London, granted, we were only there for a few days, but we saw only the good as it was reflected in the Jewish story. A country that once expelled its Jews welcomed them back with open arms. A country where for centuries Jews flourished. And when you're on vacation, you don't really watch the news unless there's some breaking story that comes across as an alert on your phone. We heard about the London Bridge attack while we were at Shabbat dinner, We had just been there in that very spot. We didn't hear about the rabbi in London who was beaten by teenagers who also shouted, "Kill the Jews," on that same Shabbat until we had come home. I direct your attention to yesterday's New York Times opinion piece by Barry Weiss, calling out anti-Semitism in Europe and around the world. Accordingly, we are living in an era where we are quick to write off anti-Semitic attacks as anti-Zionist, as anti-Israel. And while that is bad enough, it allows us to pretend that all is well and good with the Jews in general. We tell ourselves that the hate of the past is gone. Occurrences today are intermittent and anomalous. By defining it as anti-Israel, it becomes a political problem and not necessarily an existential one. In her article, she writes, "If hatred of Jews can be justified as a misunderstanding or ignored as a mistake or played down as a slip of the tongue or waved away as just anti-Zionism, you can all but guarantee it will be. Yet beneath the finger-pointing and the victim-blaming and the accusations of panic lobbed against a people that know a little something about persecution, there is the same old bigotry, a hatred that still, after centuries, exerts its powerful allure during periods of political and economic unrest, when the angry, the confused, and the shortchanged and the scared look for simple explanations and a scapegoat. And even those who seek to uplift the marginalized can't seem to find their voice when it comes to Jews facing anti-Semitism." On the same day that France passed a resolution that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, 100 graves were defaced with swastikas in Strasbourg. Placing a small Holocaust memorial on the streets of an Italian city was regarded as too divisive. The list of hates, intolerance, and violence goes on and on. Please go read the article. It is very, very good. And it reminds us how important it is that we don't turn a blind eye. It's important that we call out anti-Semitism when we see it. It's important that we speak up. It's important that we teach about Judaism. Do you know that your rabbis are consistently teaching in schools around our community about Judaism? It's important that we build relationships with other communities near and far. It's important that we teach our politicians, our leaders, our friends, and our neighbors. It's important that we don't write off hate and anti-Semitism as intermittent and inconsequential. These are all things that all of us can do. And it's important that we focus on more than hate. As Jews, we must celebrate all that is good and loving and powerful and meaningful in our culture and our faith and our community. There is so much good. I want to celebrate the Jewish stories behind fish and chips and mincemeat pies. I want to celebrate the fact that our people have outlasted hate over the centuries far beyond any realistic expectation. When Jacob set out on his journey, he was running away. But he stopped to rest for the night, and that's when he had his dream of a ladder with angels going up and down on it. And when he woke, he realized that God was there. God was in this place, and I did not know, he said. We find ourselves in the same place. We're running too. We're hiding, we're busy, we're in denial. We have to open our eyes to the good, to the bad, and we have to speak up. God is here. We are here. We can make change, recognizing that we are a strong people, a resilient people, and wherever our journey takes us, London, Marseille, Detroit, wherever we stand, like Jacob, it is holy ground, and we, as Jews, have every intention of standing our ground. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will, as we say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
every second, every minute, every hour, every day, everything, everyone, every place, every way, where you stand, where you walk, where you love, where you praise, all of it is holy ground. Every he, every she, every what, every who, it's in her, it's in me, it's in them, it's in you. In the bitter, in the sweet, in the calm, in the storm, all of life is holy ground. So walk as if it's holy ground. Breathe as if it's all around. Talk and make a holy sound. Take your shoes off, you're on holy ground. Every hurt, every heal, when you laugh, when you pray, when you doubt, when you keep, when you give it away. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, all of life is holy ground. So walk as if it's holy ground. Breathe as if it's all around. Talk and make a holy sound. Take your shoes off, you're on holy ground. We are one story, one journey, one tapestry we weave, one people, one glory, one legacy we leave. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, everything, everyone, every place, every way, where you stand, where you walk, where you love, where you praise. All of life is holy ground. Can you feel the holy ground? Take your shoes off, you're on holy ground.
I'd like to invite up Ellie Bitker, a member of our executive committee, to share this evening's announcements and upcoming events.
Shabbat Shalom. Rabbi Marla, we're so happy you arrived home safely. Beautiful sermon. So we have a lot of activities coming up. On Wednesday, December 11th, from 10 to 3 p.m. during the Hanukkah Scholastic Book Fair, please join Sisterhood for Winter Boutiques. It's just in time for Hanukkah, and there's plenty of gifts for everybody on your list. There'll be light snacks and refreshments available. The next day, Thursday, December 12th at 7 p.m., join Rabbis Kaluzny and Hornstein for Machloket Matters, how to disagree constructively, the Beit Midrash way. That sounds very interesting. Learn how to create constructive dialogue and civil discourse through Jewish tradition and debate. The program is free and open to the community. Please join us a week from tonight for congregational Hanukkah Shabbat dinner and Kehillah family service. But please note that the service starts early. It's at 7 p.m. instead of 7:30. There's dinner that begins at 6 p.m. And again, services start early at 7 p.m. when Jacob Spice Krause, the Kehillah service, and the Shabbat singers come together for a Shabbat service that's celebrating Hanukkah, and it sounds like it'll be unbelievable. This will be an upbeat Kabbalat Shabbat for the entire family. Please join us. Rabbi Dan Horowitz will be the guest speaker, and if you'd like to come to dinner, please RSVP by this Monday, December 9th. And finally, families with children 5 and under are invited to join our clergy and early childhood educator, Jody Knager, on Saturday, December 14th at 10:30 for Shabbat for Tots. Hanukkah, Oy Hanukkah. Enjoy celebrating Hanukkah and Shabbat with activities, songs, snacks, and prayers. For more information on any of these activities, please look outside on the table, visit our website, or call during normal office hours. I'd like to wish all of you a Shabbat Shalom, and please join us for the Oneg after the service.
This has been a long week, so I was a little bit tired when I came to services tonight. Actually, I was very tired when I came to services. So I decided to sit in the congregation rather than sit up here. Now I know why you come. It's so much nicer. You know, when you're sitting up here, you look, oh, they're sitting, that's right. You're constantly drawn to people's faces. And if you're not looking down at the book, so I'm going to make a suggestion. Every rabbi, and we'll have to figure a way to do it for Candace, has to just sit there and be a congregant every so often. It's really nice. So if I had a long week and a tiring week, I'm going to call up someone to open the Ark who just celebrated a very special birthday. Now, and here's a gentleman. I can't allow myself to feel tired whenever I look at him, because this man never stops. He's here at Temple constantly. He's here involved in our community, a past president of our temple. Anyone here celebrate a 97th birthday this week? Past President Jack Kamiker, will you please come up as we welcome you? Please come up to open the Ark as we turn to page 189 and invite all the youngsters who are not as young and vibrant as you are to join us on the bima.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We turn now to the task and challenge of memory as we remember those who've died in recent days in the period of Shloshim. We remember Janice Schwartz Billmeyer, Joe Broder, Thelma Salberg Brown, Alan Charnes, August Weeks Craig, Dr. Jerome Feldstein, Robbie Feldstein, Miriam Freeling, Robert Glazer, Beverly Carble Goldberg, Norma Goldman, Harvey Goodman, Ethel May Green, Nancy Hartman, Stuart Itzkowitz, Bill Lefkowski, Bob Mellon, Howard Miller, Joyce Moroff, David Moscow, Sam Orechkin, Dorothy Pleasant, Leonard Poliak, Debbie Quigley, Jean Radner, Diane Rappaport, Martha Riley, Milt Ring, Craig Sanders, Jerry Stern, Todd Stalker, Daniel Victor, Radhika Weiss, Ruth Young, Aaron Zolden. And we remember those whose yard sites fall at this time. Henry Auslander, Betty Baines, William Baines, Phyllis Cooper, Lothar Davids, Bernice Dickstein, Harry Dorfman, Michael Asher Afros, Abraham Einhorn, Doris Enfield, Lillian Fogel, Susan Gendelman, Arthur Gould, Benny Abraham Grabowski, Joseph Grant, Jason Mark Heller, Phyllis Hendrick, Elliot Kaplan, Irene Keeps, Aaron Lane, Elisa Leiter, Selma Leon, Doris Levin, Ida Lewis, Rosalind Liner, Honora Lipson, James Manchell, Frederick Marty Miller, Eileen Miller, Rita Portney, Myrtle Reddish, Richard, Ricky, David Rosen, Rose Russick, Mary Schlossberg, Judy Schramm, Rosalind Schwartz, William Schwartz, Dr. Philip Sherman, Rochelle Solomon, Eric Steiner, Mary Stutz, Joshua Schweitzer, George Taxi, Ruth Wolf, Ida Yedwab, Philip Goldberg, Alan Victor, Jeremy Money, Buddy Greenwald, Marty Stein, Howard Katzman, Charles Vantage, Abraham Price, John Sturman, Judith Clark, Sylvia Seidman, Janet Kushkin, Jay Fry, Nancy Konigsberg, Gail Sweetwine Saney, and Al Baker. Tehei Nishmotehem Soror B'Tzra Chaim. May their souls be bound up in the bond of everlasting life and memory. As we turn now to the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 199. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra charute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uvyomechon u'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'tadar v'taleh v'talal shemeda kudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. Amen.
We conclude our service this evening with Adon Olam on page 201 as we praise the Master of all things. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra le'et nasa v'cheptzo kol azay melech shemo nikra ve'acharei yichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hove ve'hu yeh betifara. Adon Olam asher malach terem kol yetzir nivra le'et nasa v'hefzo kol hazay melech shemo nikra ve'acharei yichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hove ve'hu yeh betifara. אחד ואין שני להמשילו להכבירה בלי ראשי בלי תכלית בלא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי והי גואלי וצור הבלי ועצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנקוסי ביום מקרא. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra le'et נעשה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי יכלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. בידו אבקיד רוחי, ואת ישן ויהירה, ואם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא. אדון עולה אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ועת נעשה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. שבת שלום, 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 שבת שלום.